Don't forget, we are on our main channel is our YouTube channel. We're stream there. We ask that everyone subscribe and like. We start this channel fresh before the football season. And we've been on a couple of platforms before, but this is the new home and hopefully the permanent home. I'm tired of moving, Phil.
We're not changing it again, Chris.
So we are trying to build this from the ground up like we already have. And we had a great response this past week as we were at the Malcolm Wade tournament over at Carl Albert High School. Thank you once again. We've said it before, but big thank you to the great hosts over there at Carl Albert.
Great job.
Doing everything that we can to broadcast those championships, those finals, and went really, really well. So big thank you to that. All right, we're going to continue, and big thank you to Coach Gabe Ellis.
Absolutely. Outstanding.
That's outstanding. Yeah. So, all right, next up here on the High School, I told you it's a busy show. We bring in the Oklahoma Wrestling Coach Association led by Coach Zach Hale. Noble America. Coach, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Great. I'm glad you're skipping a little bit of the football game to join us here. I felt bad taking you away from that game, but it'll still be there when we get done, I promise. But, man, how's everything in Noble?
Man, everything's going really, really well right now. This part of January is always tough. It's that, that January grind. Yeah. And so it's always tough. But, I mean, all of our kids are really pulling through. We got full lineups almost on both sides, boys and girls. So everything's really rocking and rolling right now.
We talked with Coach Ellis on the 5A side of things. Boys and girls have really, the 5A girls, and you got McLeod, but it's fun to see the girls get more and more competitive and more teams and more girls coming out for their schools.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that's one of the things that it's kind of a weird deal, but in terms of looking at data points and just how the girls have kind of been growing steadily throughout the course of the last couple of seasons. They had a big explosion, 2 seasons ago. They were up about 64% increase to, I think last year is something like in the neighborhood of like a 27% increase over top of that. So it's still starting to get there. And, I think, Phil, I think you said it earlier, in order to help the sport really grow, it's all about kind of slowing some things down and being patient, letting things kind of mature at the pace they need to go.
Yeah, and that's hard to do. I mean, we all know that, and we get it on all sides. But anytime we can highlight the athletes, I mean, that's what's going to make the sport grow. I mean, we've obviously got great leaders at the different schools. I mean, Coach, I don't know if you've been able to watch the show previous to tonight, but every coach that's been on, we said on the last break, I said, man, that's what I love about wrestling coaches, just salt of the earth. Just solid dudes, that just want what's best for the kids, and that's not always the case in some sports, and and so the more we can show that, the better.
That's true, and to speak on this one thing, talking about the kids, one of the things that kind of excited to kind of bring about through the OWCA is the fact that a lot of girls coaches want to have a girls dual state, and most coaches that you talk to all across the state, we're just not there yet. Yeah. Numbers aren't quite there yet. And so, until we actually have basically the same transparency that you put on top of the boys dual state formula, that's what the association wants. They want to put that on top of the girls and just make everything just transparent across the board. So one of the things that we're kind of excited to kind of get going this year, and believe me, it's been a couple of headaches from here to there, but going to the McLeod girls dual tournament, the OWCA is actually sponsoring the state championship, the unofficial OWCA girls dual state championship trophies and runner-up trophy.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
At the McLeod dual tournament.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay.
That's outstanding.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But that gives us a way to give something tangible to the athletes for them to work for. It also kind of helps lay the groundwork that we're trying to work with the coaches and the OSSAA about trying to, merge these things together. But just like you said earlier, it's just going to take time.
Takes time. Yeah.
And Coach, first off, great job on the camera quality and the lighting. A+, it's the best I've ever seen on a Zoom. So you got that part
good.
You got that part checked off. Great job there. But along with your coaching duties, as you mentioned, Oklahoma Wrestling Coaches Association, what made you want to get into that? Because that's a lot of phone calls. That's a lot of back and forth. That's a lot of rule changes, districts and all that. Talk about your participation in that, and how important your association is to work with OSSAA and West to get the things that you guys are looking to incorporate by the association.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it kind of fell in my lap, but anyway, as we were getting ready to kind of trade the torch off, if you will, because at that point in time, it was a 2-year term, and that vice president that had a 2-year term as well, he would basically graduate to be the president on that next term. So anyway, a couple years ago, we were looking to the president, Danny Jefferson. He called up and says, "Hey, is this something you think you might like?" And a couple of people said, "Yeah, Hale would do a good job." So I'm like, well, it's kind of been on my bucket list. And, that was kind of the quote that I used, and he kind of used it against me. And so, so long story short, I remember sitting there in the meeting and got voted in. Great, I feel good. And then the very next sentence out of Danny Jefferson's mouth was, "Hey, who wants to go ahead and vote to increase this to a 3-year term?" Everybody in there was, yeah. And I was like, no. So, but, here I am so far.
Well, that continuity of that extra year, and I know you know this, is that'll be big. Especially with all the growth that's going on, as you said, on with the girls' side of the sport and just everything that's happening. I mean, anytime you have continuity in those kind of positions, it's a good thing.
Well, and that was one thing that one of the former presidents, Coach Eric Ford at Piedmont, had said. He goes, "Zach, I know you weren't really keen about having that extra year thrown on you, but," he goes, "really, you're figuring things out year 1, you got things figured out year 2, and then you kind of help, mature those things year 3. He said, "That's kind of how I see it." Yeah. And, looking back in hindsight, they were all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of, to answer that second part of your question there, Chris, working with the association, it's we're kind of like the go-between, I guess. Yep. And, throughout the course of the seasons, throughout the course of the spring, and especially the fall, sometimes the association comes up with these crazy ideas to change a couple things up on us. And it's my job to kind of collect some of that information from the coaches, bring it to the OSSAA and kind of present it to them and say, "Hey, Wes, the coaches, they don't like this, or this is something we want to move towards. And, how can we work and take those steps to properly get these, enacted and all that." So it does get kind of tedious from time to time. So
I don't know if you were with the association at the time, the Oklahoma Wrestling Coach Association, but like the adoption of the going from 2 points to 3 points, is that something that the OSSA came to you guys, or did you guys go to them? And how does that normally work on a rule change? Is it both ways? I guess it probably works both ways.
Yeah. So Wes had actually reached out to me that summer, and he goes, "Hey, just for giggles, what do you think if we increase the takedown from 2 to 3? I know Coach Ellis's, I was listening to him just a second ago, but, his response was, it's kind of combats the riding time, and I'm a little more simpler. Whenever you get that good takedown at the end of a match and you hear 2, it sounds a lot better than 3.
Exactly.
Amen.
I have another new best friend.
He's up to 3 now.
But yeah,
last one.
So yeah, he actually called and he said, "So what do you think?" And I was like, I gave him my 2 cents about that, and kind of pulled some of the coaches that I kind of hold close by and really value their friendship and their leadership as well. And it's one of those kind of things where I think there for a long time, the sport of wrestling, we were kind of losing it. Thank God that the girls kind of brought it back up with us. They tried to get rid of it in the Olympics, decade or so ago, and to actually have these new things that kind of mirror more of that of the college environment. I really think that's going to help grow the sport and kind of transition it a little bit better to that, because some people just don't understand the scoring, and trying to keep it more synonymous from one side to the next side, I think will be really beneficial to the sport all in all.
Yeah, I think when college made the rule change, I think it was, even though I'm a traditionalist, it makes a lot of sense to make that change. For all the reasons you just said. So I don't like it, but there's a long list of stuff at my advanced age I don't like right now. But I think it makes sense.
If we're going to get into the weeds with rule changes and stuff.
I'm sorry, Coach.
We apologize.
We apologize
Coach.
ahead of time. Go ahead, Sean.
Just flat out, I'm completely against freestyle wrestling in college at all. And that's a whole nother story. We're not going to get into it. But girls are wrestling folk style in high school and freestyle in college. What's your take on that? Is there any talk about girls wrestling freestyle in high school? College isn't going to change that. So how are you guys juggling that? Are you hearing any of that, or are we going to keep the sport away, or what is Oklahoma going to be going down that path in the future? Are you hearing any buzz?
I haven't really heard any buzz about that. To be honest with you, whenever that was kind of coming down the pipe, it's kind of a head scratcher for me, because I'm
Absolutely.
this is what these girls are learning, and it's getting fostered through the school. They have all this support coming up, and then boom, whenever you actually make that huge transition from high school to college, a lot of the students are just kind of left on their own. They have to spread their own wings, and everything they knew just kind of gets, topsy-turvy. And so, it really didn't make a lot of sense to me, except for the fact that, if we look forward to what's after collegiate wrestling, it's really terminated at that point, unless you are training RTC and you're training, trying to go to the Olympics and different things like that, world teams and all that, where everybody else does wrestle that freestyle. So I guess that's where they're coming from in terms of that. And I'll be honest with you, I'm probably not a big fan of it, and probably get a lot of tomatoes thrown at me for saying that, but I'm not a huge fan of it just right yet.
Well, they'll throw them at me first, because I'm not the biggest fan.
We didn't know that.
Speaking with Zach Hale, Noble America Oklahoma Wrestling Coaches Association, and Coach, Oklahoma has a big opportunity come March, and you guys are a big part of that, and we're here to help with that as well. The Rose Bowl of high school wrestling. Talk about that.
Yes, sir. The Rose Bowl of high school wrestling, the Pittsburgh Wrestling Classic. And for some of those old timers that might have remembered, this was kind of like the old Dapper Dan that I think got started, and I want to say it was like 73 or maybe 74, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah. And had a great run. It's seen wrestlers from all over, from Hale Sanderson to Henry Cejudo. Our head boys coach, Michael Leitner, he wrestled in it. Wow. And so funny story though, Coach Leitner, one of the greatest Oklahoma wrestlers in my opinion that we've had. And it was great because I was asking his take on this. He says, "Oh man, this is awesome. I wrestled at this and when I was in high school." And he says, for all the things that I've done, all the things that I've been a part of, he goes, that was really the only time I was wearing a USA singlet and I got booed. I'm like, no way, He goes, man, in Pennsylvania, if you're not from there, you're the enemy. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. You got to love wrestling fans.
Exactly.
Die hard.
That's right.
Before we get into details of that, has Oklahoma gone to this before? Go ahead.
Oh, no. So I was kind of looking into this and trying to gather my research, because I'll be honest with you, it literally kind of fell in my lap. I got a phone call from Wes, and he's like, "Zach, is this something that you'd be interested in?" And you don't want to be the guy that says, "No, I don't want Oklahoma wrestling to be
right."
Shown on a national spotlight.
You got a 3-year term you got to fill out still.
Exactly.
He's up for re-election, so he's trying to politics.
So, like I said, it kind of fell in my lap. And as I was trying to research it, because I had heard about it, but, and at the same time, just like Coach Ellis, I was a 3-sport coach as well. So, man, once wrestling season's over, I got to switch over those gears to, soccer, then here comes football and so on and so forth. So, anyway, yeah, that's kind of how it came to be, and really kind of got sat on for a while because we were trying to figure out all the information, and it seems like Coach Crutchmer, let's see, 2014, maybe 2013, I believe, had a team that could go up there. And so that was great, just to kind of hear that and see that. And I still haven't had a chance to talk with Coach Crutchmer yet to kind of get his take on some things. But I think about a decade ago, Team Oklahoma had a team that was represented up there.
Well, I'm always interested, and I can't wait till it's March 28th because I always hear about Pennsylvania high school wrestling. So,
there's a reason,
and I get to hear about Oklahoma high school wrestling. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. Okay, so I know it's boys and girls. Right. Who's selected? Who's eligible? Is it seniors only? Tell us the process of that.
Okay, so yes, it's a seniors only deal, senior only athletes. And so what me and a small group of people, we've been trying to get this thing kind of going. Our vice president, Tom Johnston, Faye Barnett out of Cashion, and Kevin Sheets out of Newcastle. We've had a couple of meetings. We've had a chance to kind of really sit down and kind of work through some very specific details. And again, that's kind of a lot of the slowdown. But what we're going to do is we're basically getting permission right now that we're going to try to host basically an all-star tournament, like a Champion of Champions tournament, hopefully Sunday, March 8th. And those state champions, state runner-ups that are seniors, obviously will have the ability to be in that 8-man bracket of all classes. I mean, that right there is just going to be one heck of a tournament.
love that.
Yes. And if there's not a senior represented at one of those two deals, it'll be the next highest placing senior in that weight class to kind of help round that out.
Yeah.
So
wow, Coach, that by itself is amazing. I love that. We were just talking about that a couple weeks ago.
That could be a huge event.
Oh,
if done
massive.
Right.
If done right, that could be a massive event.
Well, and the bad part of it is, as we're trying to figure out this selection process, because I have kind of a laundry list of people I could put on there and nominate them or invite them to be, but at the same time to really make it clear cut and make sure that it's Oklahoma's best of the best, and so again, trying to wait to get those permissions, which I think everything's going to go just swimmingly on that. So. But yeah, same thing for the girls. We're going to, they only have 2 classes, so that their tournament in that second session would be a 4-man bracket, state champion, state runner-up, and kind of go with it from there. So today I just sent out to all the coaches, it's in their email inboxes right now, the senior nomination forms. And so if they even have somebody, and of course, if you have somebody that's going to be in the finals, there's something special about that kid. Get this in their hands as soon as you can. And because the bad part is our termination deadline is actually Monday, March 9th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, of course, PA, their wrestling season's a lot different than Oklahoma's. And so trying to get everything to the publishers and get everything, sorted out, it's been quite an ordeal. But, Tom Johnson, our OWCA vice president, he has really done a lot of his legwork, and he's really got things up and going for us.
So when are you thinking about holding the tournament that will decide the selection?
Well,
like a week or two after the state tournament?
Yeah, it'll be the weekend after the state tournament on that Sunday.
Phil, this could be the Grand State we've always dreamed of.
In Kansas years ago, they had Grand State, which was such a cool event.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm sitting there, I'm not shy. I'm going to tell you right now, if you need somebody to broadcast that, we're your guys.
Call the huddle. We'd love to be there.
We would love to help with that. I mean, that's a huge thing. What a great, it's another weekend of wrestling. It also gives us another weekend to promote the sport of wrestling. That's a big deal. That's a great job.
Yeah. Scheduled for Saturday, March 28th.
I'm sorry?
It's scheduled for Saturday, March 28th.
The Pennsylvania event.
In Pennsylvania
the Pittsburgh Classic is.
Yes. March 28th.
And so we would do this Grand State, if you will, Sunday, March 8th. And right now, again, we also wanted to do this because it can also help kind of be more of a fundraiser to help get the kids there too. So that's kind of the pickle that we're in right now is We have a lot of support. We have a lot of people interested, coaches, hey, how can I help be a part of this? And, this and that. And so we're right now we're trying to collect funds and get donations. Coach Tom Johnston, our vice president, he actually put down a $2,000 deposit on airline tickets and of his own money. Wow. So that we can try to get these kids there. And, that's the thing, right? As of right now, we only have 2 people that have donated, and that would be Tom and myself.
Well, Coach, you can make it 3. The High School Huddle is going to write you a check for $1,000.
Oh my gosh. Guys, that's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big, big deal, and we're all about the kids in Oklahoma. I think that, I just encourage everybody to listen. I don't care if you can give $5. We need to make this happen for these kids, but we'll commit to $1,000 when we see you. I'll hand you a check for that.
I got $3, Sean. What do you got over there?
I was generous by saying the High School Huddle. How about that? But we'll get that to you, Coach. I think that's listen, you think about this way. This is all of our kids. How many wrestling programs in the state of Oklahoma? How many high school wrestling programs?
Hundreds.
178.
Right? 178. Hey guys, everybody give $100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could come together and make this because you don't just want it to cover the bare essentials. You want this to be an experience for these kids and the coaches that are selected to go.
Right.
And we want them to go there in first class and represent the state of Oklahoma in there in a wonderful way. So that's something that makes all of us happy to be able to support that.
Well, and that's our effort. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Go ahead, Coach.
I said that's our goal is to make this a zero cost out of pocket trip for the athletes and the coaches. And it sounds bad, but as a contingency, those people out in the wrestling world that know me, I'm a go getter, and I will get those kids there because Mr. Solomon, our Noble superintendent, he did give me permission to use the Noble Public Schools activity bus as a backup.
That's awesome. Hey, we want to get them there a little smoother than that. I think that's a great offer. But anything we can do to help on the fundraising side, you make sure you reach out to us.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll make sure you guys are there for that tournament too.
Sir.
This is a big enough event and a big enough deal. This wrestling community can pitch in. We can figure this out.
No doubt about it. And I think the other thing too, if I can just ask a real favor, it'd be awesome when you do that event for the kids to earn their way to the Pennsylvania tournament, to the Rose Bowl. Call it Grand State just for us, for Sean and I, because we want it to be Grand State so bad.
We've talked about this for years.
I think honestly, I don't know why we don't do something like that, because we do have the 3, 4, 5, 6A, and now 5 and 6A for the girls. But to really see who that champion of champions actually is,
so awesome. I mean, you see, and it's really fun when the kids, especially for people that are, people that follow wrestling and know wrestling, realize it doesn't matter if you're in 3A or 6A. There's dogs in 3A that can beat everybody in 6A, right? And but it's cool as we're trying to build this fan base and to promote the sport. It's an awesome moment when that kid from Blackwell sticks the kid from from Stillwater or from Edmond North and becomes the Grand State champion.
Absolutely.
That's such an incredible thing. So I think that would be great.
Let us produce this.
Yeah.
It would be
I'm
so fun.
Excited. yeah.
And if you're not a school or wrestling program individually, there is a site you can go out there and make a pledge as well. And we will. It's already on our Facebook post here, but we'll have more of a social media presence on there to direct you to that, and we'll put that QR code when we make this podcast individually. So we'll definitely put it out there for you, Coach, in different ways to try to raise that as well. So a lot of great things happening in wrestling, and it's a cool time to be a part of it as it is on the rise. It's always been a staple in Oklahoma, but it just seems like it's been on that rise the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really has. And, that's the exciting part about this is, I think you guys kind of alluded to that a little bit earlier, is the fact that, it's not just those legacy wrestling kids that we have come up and those wrestling families. There's so many new kids joining at the youth level, even the intermediate levels like middle school. And I have to agree with you guys earlier at the very beginning of the show. It's like, man, some of those youth and little league tournaments, I don't know how people can create that type of a calm during that chaos, but to me, there's no order, but to some people, they can figure that out. But you know what? There's people that are buying into it because, just like Coach Ellis said, and again, I agree with him 100%, is the fact that, yes, you have your football coaches that say, football's about life, and then baseball, but really in wrestling, learning to overcome those obstacles in real time, and your accomplishments are kind of are weighted and on your shoulders. What you put into this is exactly what you get out of it, and that's what it's all about. That's what's really, to me, that's what's really driving and motivating and growing the sport right there.
Well, and I love the fact that wrestling, you have your individual results, but they all tie into a team environment. And there's those mutual goals, right? And they have to align. The great programs get all those things to align. But I could not agree more. I think we always laugh, and I always say, wrestling makes you tough because when you're a 14-year-old kid and you're basically wrestling in your underwear in front of everybody you know, and you might get your butt kicked in front of everybody you know, that by itself will create character. I mean, it really does. I mean, because you get rid of ego real quick. You learn about humility. You learn about all these other things that are so important as you move through life.
Yeah, and to that point, that's one of the great things I'm also seeing with the girls side of wrestling too. Is I don't know exactly when it was. Maybe it was the early 2000s. I mean, it might have been the 90s. I don't know. But for whatever reason, those girls at that pivotal age, anywhere from 12 to 16, 17 years old, sometimes they hit a little bout of depression, or sometimes they just don't feel great about themselves. And watching these girls really compete and gain their trust and respect of their peers on the other side, on the boys' side. Yeah. I mean, I just see those girls just walk around with that chest really puffed up, and they have a new sense of confidence about them. And I just love that simple fact, just on the mental health side of all that.
Well, if you have a daughter who knows exactly who she is and exactly what she's capable of,
what her value is,
it's so special to have that. And a lot of people fight for that, but to walk out there, and spend, even if it's just 4 years in high school, to find that and to leave and to go into college if she never wrestles again, but to have that, she'll have everything she needs to be successful. She'll know exactly what she's looking for in a man. Right. It's such a powerful tool that it gives those girls.
I think we've got a young lady here. We all live.
We
all live here in Guthrie. We've got a young lady here that I've known since she was born, but it was really cool this weekend. Talking about Bailey
Harden,
Bailey Harden, and just this incredible young lady. She's consistently runner up or winning or finished top 4 in tournaments all year. I think her second or third year of wrestling.
Yeah,
third year of wrestling. And then this weekend she was installed as the head of the Rainbow Girls. So I get to see Bailey kicking butt on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I get to see her
dressed up in a pretty green dress.
I get to see her in this beautiful dress on social media, and I think, man, this is what it's all about. This being well-rounded, having all these different experiences. I mean, it's incredible.
Confidence that comes out of that sweet little girl is just amazing.
It's awesome.
Coach, we always ask 3 questions, and I think we got in the perfect spot for my question.
Yeah,
because it's the Oklahoma Wrestling Coaches Association. Yeah, what better question could I ask?
Now, Sean and I talked about this. We're waiting on some coach to say a certain thing. You remember what we talked about?
On the rule? On my question?
Oh, yeah. I'll bring it up.
Yeah. All right, Coach. My question, I'll lead off this time.
Okay.
Coach, if Wrestling Coach Association, this could be good. One rule that you would change, edit, modify, delete, add, what would that be if you were the king for the day? I mean, you're almost there. I mean, it's president.
Basically,
he's close. He's really close.
He
might actually be able to do this.
He's the prince. He's the prince.
What's on your agenda, Coach?
I not to piggyback, but honestly, I kind of want to go back to the 2-point takedown. And again, yes, it sounds great. There's a couple little rules out there that to me are just kind of silly. One of them, and I understand kind of where the association's coming from and kind of going back and forth with them, but the rules pertaining preseason events and how it's managed, and
Major.
Yeah, I didn't want to open up a can of worms.
No, but that we all agree that's got to be addressed at some
Every
point.
coach that's come on has talked about it.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, like right now, it's a prime example that we are getting invited. 2 teams are getting invited to wrestle from the Western Pennsylvania All-Stars. And those students up there have that ability to wrestle in, those Super 32s and some of those big national tournaments. And the way that the wording is in our OSSA wrestling manual, it just says that, basically we can hold these from November, so on and so forth. And it's just looking at possibly getting Oklahoma more out there in terms of being able to coach our kids at a national tournament. I think would just really help grow the sport and Oklahoma athletics. So
100%.
Okay, I got one follow-up, and I'm out of the way. I'm done, and I'll say goodbye here in a minute. What's the other side of that why that has not been changed? What's the meaning behind that, why it has not been changed?
So, I mean, there's a couple of reasons, and everyone, it's going to be from a different perspective, depending upon who you ask. Yeah. Some will say, well, only the wrestlers that have a financial means, can actually do that. So only those wrestlers will get better. That's one argument. Another side of it is, to the recruiting side of it, which I don't understand how that really ties in because it's really across state lines. But there's I just really don't know the actual real nuts and bolts question that can be answered from it, to be honest with you.
It seems frustrating because our kids from Oklahoma are going to have to compete against kids from other states for scholarship opportunities, for match opportunities, for NIL. Like it's Coach Schneider talked about it. Possibly could have cost one of his wrestlers tens of thousands of dollars. We don't know, but he also didn't get to have his coach in his corner.
Without his coach, that's the whole thing.
And when they wrestled again, his guy won, only on a smaller scale. And it seems like it's holding our athletes back. Yeah. So it would be nice to figure out a way to word that, or maybe put a caveat if or something. I don't know the legalities of it, but it is something that every coach we brought on has said that is something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Well, in the 2 years that I've been in this position, that obviously that's one of the things we have our coaches meetings that they actually bring up. So that is going to be probably another thing that we bring up. And it's just like, just every year, like clockwork, we're going to bring it up and say, hey, let's revisit this. Let's look at the byline items and kind of figure this out. Maybe you give us one tournament here, which counts as this for that, or, let's have a trial run of it, see how it goes. Yeah. They can always, change it if they need to.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Sean?
All right. So I always ask the question, Coach, what's the best thing about wrestling?
Man, I think I answered that in the fact that, man, I just look out at some of these kids and, some of those kids that might have a hard home life, some of those kids that just might not really have a fair shot or a good hand of, going forward. They have a chance to shine. And, the sport of wrestling does not discriminate against anybody. If you're 78 pounds, there's a 78 pounder for you to wrestle. You don't have to wrestle this, 150-pound guy. But the fact that it gives everybody an opportunity to compete. And, really, like I said, in life, that's what life's all about. It's about competing. You just said it the best. They're talking about those scholarships. We're competing for those opportunities in life to help give us a leg up or hand up here and there. And it really helps those kids show how they can be competitive in that.
Coach, we talked right before the show came on. We were talking about Kenny Mundy and his career, where he started wrestling late compared to a lot of kids. And obviously Kenny Mundy, the name says everything you need to know, but when he's still coaching and, just so many tentacles. But the sport of wrestling generationally changed the trajectory of his family. And now he earned everything. But a kid growing up, going to high school, Booker T, Washington over in Tulsa, look at him now, right? So, hey, I've got the hardest hitting question of all. What's your favorite ice cream? Oh,
man, without a doubt, it has to be, without a doubt, Rocky Road.
Rocky Road.
It's got everything you need in
it. Hey, have you ever eaten at Dairy Queen?
Yes.
Okay, have you ever had a blizzard?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what makes it a blizzard? It's a blizzard if you hold the cup upside down and it doesn't fall out, right?
Amen.
Man, I don't really know, but I know you can't do that with the Wendy's Frosty because it'll just
it ain't
go
a blizzard.
all over your
Because it
lap.
ain't a blizzard.
It's a Frosty. It's not
It's
a blizzard.
Frosty. It's not a blizzard. So if you can hold this upside down, you're getting ready to eat a blizzard, correct?
That's right.
There you go.
I can go to the store and put it upside down because it's frozen. He puts vanilla ice cream with chocolate sauce on top and thinks, thinks it's a blizzard.
Well, I haven't mixed it up.
Oh, of course.
It's so good.
That
And
is-
Coach, it says right on the cup, blizzard.
Exactly. And that's
Right.
a defining characteristic that it doesn't come out of the cup. So
That's exactly right. I win. Thanks, Coach.
Agree to disagree. Coach, you are a great resource. Hopefully we can keep your contact and maybe bring you on a time or two throughout the year if we have any questions or anything. We certainly appreciate that if you can do that for us.
And if this All-State tournament goes off, please call us.
Please let us know. We'd love to help.
As soon as I get the final approval, you guys will be the first I'll let know.
Coach, we'll take advantage of this this code that we're putting on, and we'll get that money sent to you right away.
All right. Thank you, guys. I greatly
guys.
appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Coach.
Bye-bye.
All right, man. Thank you, the Coach Zach Hale of Noble, Oklahoma. Oh, Coach, if you're still listening, tell Coach Allen, Coach Hughes, and Coach Solomon I said hello. I meant to say that on his way out.